Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omni video. Today we're going to do a Should You Pull video on the Jack Garland banner. So Jack Garland is going to be dropping probably the day after this video goes out. So very, very quick. So what we're going to have is we're going to have two banners here. And what I'm going to talk about is if I think you should pull on these banners, and if I do, which banner should you pull on, things like that. And keep in mind, when I do these Should You Pull videos, it's from the perspective of, like, what are the most meta-relevant characters and characters that you're going to get the most bang for your buck with. So we're talking about characters that you can use for many, many months after release, right? I think you could argue, like, almost every character is good enough on release to be used, but the question is how often will you use that character? Is it worth going deep on your, your resources to get and upgrade these characters for the long run, right? Now, obviously, if you have lots of extra resources and materials, summon for whatever you want. And obviously, no matter what I say, summon for whatever you want, right? It's your materials, it's your game, do what you want. But the whole point of these videos, and I think why people like these, is they like to hear what maybe experts or veterans in the community think about certain characters, just to get their thought on it. And then you take that information and you use that to determine whether you should pull or not yourself, right? So, one banner here is going to have Gilgamesh, Steiner, and Ida. And I'll talk briefly about each character a little bit. Now, this banner will also have Jack Garland's full kit through the FR, but it won't have Jack Garland's BT, okay? So just keep in mind, if you pull on this, there's still Jack Garland stuff there, right? Ida, basically, Ida is known as a damage dealer. She's an okay-ish damage dealer. She's got some debuffs, but I think one of her big things that she's known for is basically an exploit. And so what she is she's a character that gets free turns or free attacks upon breaking, but she's different than other characters where, typically these break characters, like, let's say you're using Zidane or Lightning, right? Like, these are two examples of, like, break free turn characters. What they do is if they break, they get a free turn, but then when you're on the free turn and they break again, they can't just do it back to back. They have to interrupt it with something in between. Well, just the way that Ida's kit interacts, it has a very interesting interaction with Sephiroth BT where she can break, Sephiroth's BT unbreaks, it triggers her extra attack, then it breaks again, and it basically creates an infinite loop where she gets constant, never-ending attacks. So it's not the funnest thing in the game you can do, but it's something you can do if you want to cheese some fights. But Ida isn't a character like outright I would recommend getting. The only way I would recommend Ida is if you have Sephiroth BT and you want to do that exploit, but it's really not a fun way to play the game, so I can't really recommend it. But Ida's there. If you like her and you build her up and just use her traditionally, like, yeah, she can do some good things, but she's not like a meta-defining character, which you're never going to really expect from a lot of the side banner characters, right? Steiner, same thing. He's not like a terrible character, but he's not a great character. He's known as kind of a debuffer / damage dealer type character, kind of generic, nothing too crazy or groundbreaking there, right? Gilgamesh, I've personally never been a fan of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh isn't a bad character. He can actually deal out some pretty good damage. The thing I don't like about Gilgamesh, which is something that other players I think might like about Gilgamesh, is that he has very powerful, like, HP plus attacks, but it's random which one you get. But all four of them are very good things. So, like, I think one launches, one delays, one has turn manipulation, which is really cool, right? So he can do really cool things, and I think they're mimicking, like, other characters' weapons. Like, one is, like, Ramza's weapon, one is someone else's. I don't remember how that works, but basically the idea is he gets really good HP plus attacks, right? And he's kind of a funnish character. Like, I get why people like him. Like, the randomness is kind of fun, too. But Gilgamesh isn't something I think you guys should be going out of your way for. His BT effect isn't like a ground-breaking crazy BT that's like, oh my god, I need to go on this banner to get Gilgamesh's BT. I definitely don't think so. So I actually don't think I would recommend this banner right here at all. Just because none of these characters are super meta-defining, and I don't think any of them are very necessary at this point in the game, right? Only if they're like a favorite, right? You can always summon for favorites. The other thing to keep in mind, guys, is if you're going to use the character, like, let's say you love Steiner, and I know there's a YouTuber that loves Steiner, he posts a bunch of Steiner stuff, but if you love Steiner and you build him and max him, like, sure, you can get him through, like, pretty much any fight in the game if you want to, and if you're going to use the character a lot, sure, they're going to be worth pulling for. But I'm talking from the perspective of the average player, and the overall metagame, Steiner is really not there, right? Alright, now let's look at kind of the main event banner here, right? So this is going to have Jack Garland's full kit, including the BT. So I'm using regular Garland as a substitute because I don't have him in game. He doesn't exist yet, right, at the time of recording, so I can't show them there. But then we've got Cyan and we've got Raijin, right? Now, here's the thing that's interesting about this banner. This banner here has two actually very relevant LD calls. So a lot of people use Cyan LD because it's just a very strong hitting LD attack. Cyan's like LD is, I would say it's been power crept at this point, but on release it was like such a powerful LD. The way the mechanic works is you can't even spam it back to back. Like you have to charge it up before you can use it basically. So a lot of people use Cyan LD for co-op and they just bring them in and like do a really big heavy attack. Cyan as a character, he's pretty much just like a defense ignoring damage dealer. That's the best way I can explain him, like quickly. And his damage really isn't on par with other big time damage dealers. I think the big draw with Cyan is just the defense ignoring, which isn't as relevant as it used to be, but it can be fun. Now, I'm a Final Fantasy VI fanatic, so sure, my Cyan, I've got his full kit, but you can see I didn't even Force Enhance 30 him. I didn't blue his armor or anything, but Cyan's a fun character, not anything you need to have, but I would say if you get his LD, like his LD call can be a fun call to use. Raijin, on the other hand, is like a ridiculous call. Like, I think Raijin call, I've said this before, but I think Raijin's call might be the best call in the game. It's definitely in the discussion, right? Like, I could definitely see arguments for other calls. I think Luna Freya's call could be up for discussion, right? I think, you know, Kurasame, for just the longevity that's is in that discussion. Kate Sith, I think. There's a lot of really, really good calls. I think Rydia even could be up there. Like, Rydia is really good. So there's just lots of good calls in the game, but Raijin is just always a solid go-to call. Raijin as a character in the party isn't the worst thing either. He's just, the thing with Raijin in the party, it's basically like you're running a party of two because Raijin is so slow and so passive, he just kind of sits there, which is fine, like the way he operates, because he is a more defensive unit and he protects the party. But the reason why his LD is so good is it basically puts a 2-turn debuff on the enemies that basically allow you not to be hurt or debuffed. Like, you're literally invincible while those debuffs are up, which is why his call is so good, because you can just throw that call into any party right before the boss is going to do their big threshold attack, or they're going to do their big, like, blinking red attack or whatever. Like, and it, like, if you know danger's coming, you throw down that Raijin call and it can really save you. So, just the value of his call is very much worth pulling for here, right? And then we've got Jack Garland. And those of you, unless you've been hidden in a cave, you've probably been hearing YouTubers talk about Jack Garland for a while. Jack Garland is what I would describe as a meta-defining DPS character. He is a character pretty much on the level, if not beyond the level, of like the Tifa Renoa era, right? Like like Jack Garland is one of these unga bunga, like holy crap, like really good for months type characters. And part of what makes Jack Garland so good is he introduces a new mechanic. And odds are, if you introduce a new mechanic and that mechanic is good, the character is going to be very good, right? On Global, I think actually Court introduced rainbow numbers. I think he dropped before Setzer did, and that was busted combined with all of his off-turn, right? So Jack Garland's mechanic is that he can act, and this comes with the BT effect. So his BT is pretty important for this, but he makes it so that the enemy's Brave can go to negative values, which is something we've never had in the game. So the way it works is like when the enemy's broken, it normally just says the word break above their head. What's going to happen with Jack Garland is it's going to say the word break, but it's going to flash back and forth between that and red numbers. And so they could have like a red 60,000. That means they're at negative 60,000 Brave. So the reason why this is so busted and helps him be like a crazy damage dealer is that he allows the party to do true HP damage based on the negative Brave values. So the more negative Brave the enemies have, the more like just true HP damage your party's doing, which is ridiculous. So the very easy answer here is yes, you should summon on this banner. Not only are you getting a meta-defining god like Jack Garland, who is going to literally carry you for months if you want him to be your main DPS, but you're getting two very good calls, mainly Raijin. Like, if you get Jack Garland and you get Raijin call, and then you already have, say, like a Luna Freya, Selfie, like other supports to support Jack Garland, like, dude, you're Gucci, you're good to go, you are set. You're going to have a very, very good team for a long time. So, yeah, and I am going all in on Jack Garland. This is the first banner I'm gemming, I think, since, if I gem Celis, maybe I gem Celis, but it's been a hot minute. I am going to be live streaming my summons, and I'm going to live stream the character guide. So if you guys want to get an early look on that character guide, it's going to be on the 29th at 8 p.m. Central Time. I believe that is when he drops. I know his release date is the 30th, but that's like JP time. So the way it works out for me, it ends up being 8 p.m. the night before. So January 29th, 8 p.m., I'm going to be streaming. Definitely check it out. But yeah, I highly recommend you all summon on this banner. I have been recommending it for a while. So definitely let me know if you are going to summon for Jack Garland. Now, do you have to have Jack Garland? No, you do not. If you have Tifa Rinoa and you don't like him, you see, like, if you're unsure, watch my character guide, and I will show him off, and you decide for yourself. And if you don't like him, like, no one's going to get mad at you for not summoning. It's your stones, right? It's like your resources. You decide what you want to do. But my recommendation as a meta-relevant DPS character, yes, and plus you're getting like a ridiculous call-in Raijin. So this is a good high-value banner. I would say the only thing this banner is missing is a good support. And between both banners, there really aren't like good support characters. So that's the only bummer part about the banner. But there are plenty of supports you can pick up elsewhere. Yuna's available right now. Lilith might still be up. I think Lilith's like the bomb. If I'm correct in my prediction, I do think Lunafreya is going to pop up this month. On the community stream, they did reveal 2 kind of mystery banners, and I do feel like one of those will have Lunafreya. I could be wrong though, so don't like skip stuff like intentionally like, nope, Joe said get Lunafreya, I'm gonna get her, and then don't be upset at me if she doesn't show up. All right, I'm telling you right now, it's not guaranteed. I'm just predicting that Lunafreya is coming back based on the JP schedule. So anyways, guys, let me know if you're pumped and excited for Jack Garland. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.